Hello, Jane Gill here, and in today's video I'm going to show you how to make a card using my new range of Bubble Bloom stamps, which are being released in September 2021. For this card, here's my sample already made. I'm going to be using JGS 798 Bubble Bloom Betty. I'm also going to be using some backgrounds which are also in the release. This is JGS 800 Bubble Texture Blots. And I've also got another tops set of stamps, and this one is JGS 799 Bubble Floral Tops. Lots of little teeny weeny flower heads and some insects, including butterflies, ants and spiders. A really fun set to have, that one. So let's get going. Other thing you're going to be using is a die set, and this one is by Sue Wilson. And the code is CED1251, and it's called Stitched Rectangle Frames. And we're going to be using the largest one and the third one in. So when you die cut them, you're going to have that shape and that shape. And I've die cut those from coconut white card. I'm also going to use Foundations card in Rich Plum as well for my layering. So once you've die cut those, you can then stamp your images using our Bubble Bloom stamp set. And I've already positioned mine in my platform. And in order to create this panel, you're going to put your larger piece, die cut piece, in position. Put your stamp in where you want it, stamp it, and put some clear embossing powder on top. I've actually used black VersaFine ink to stamp with, clear VersaFine on top, clear powder on top. Heat that to emboss it, and then you're going to put your panel back on top, working out where you want it to position. So it's a little bit of a distance away, a bit of distance away from the top. So when you stamp it, you're going to get part of the image on that panel. So when it's stamped, that's the piece that you've done, and then that's my panel. So when they're put together, they marry up really easily. So the trick is to keep this one dead straight. Don't get him at an angle, because it won't work. So you've got to make sure it's nice and straight, and you can do that visually. So once you have stamped all that and embossed it, you're ready to go to do some colouring. And I'm going to use some Colour Cloud blending inks. I'm going to use Chic Moss and Plum Cobbler. I'm going to use Plum Cobbler on the background. Let's just pop a bit of scrap paper on my work surface. And with an applicator, smoothie applicator, the ink in the pot is absorbed up into the top harder area that's covered in a like a fabric. And you push it down, you release the ink, and it comes onto your applicator. I like to take the excess off on the lid because I don't want too much on here, and apply that all over your image. You can cover the whole card, or if you can do what I want to do is just cover part of the card and have a few white areas on the edges and the top and the bottom. It goes on really easily. Nice and smooth. Just add more colour as and when you need it, blending it all the time. Don't need to press very hard with the applicator. It's a lovely soft pressure. You can always add some more because it's difficult to take it away. And it will be slightly lighter when it's completely dry, so bear that in mind. But it's best just to put a small amount on until you're happy with the result. And I also use this little piece of card, by the way, so that I don't get fingerprints onto there. So now we are going to create a nice background on there. I've done two. I have done a splatter where I've dipped my fan brush into some water, flicked it over the paint, dabbed it with some kitchen towel to take away the water, and you're left with nice those little spots. But I thought I'd show you another way that you can use a stencil. And for that, I'm using the Sue Wilson Lattice Swirls stencil, CEST 036. Really pretty design, perfect for the flowers. I'm going to lay that on top. Take my bottle of water, my spritz bottle of water, spritz water through the stencil. Not too much, you can always come back and do it again. Take off the stencil and using your kitchen towel, dab the water off, and hopefully you'll get a bit of a design coming through. It just sometimes takes a little bit of time, but you can kind of see it developing in places. If it hasn't done enough, then you need to just dab your stencil, take the excess water off, and you can put it back on top, matching the design, spritz it again, dab it again with the kitchen towel, but it will develop as it dries. So again, experiment with that. And I have actually finished one here, and I've stuck it onto my base card, as you can see here. So you can see the design. It's just a vague impression, but it's a nice change from the splatter technique. So you've got a choice of doing two different backgrounds. So now I'm going to show you how to do the panel. So there's our panel, and I'm using the text from the texture blot set. I'm using the text there. And I'm also going to use the Colour Cloud Chic Moss ink to stamp with. So press that down and apply the ink to the stamp with your smoothie or preferred applicator. Make sure you get your stamp the right way up, and you're going to stamp all the way down that panel. It creates a really nice soft colour. You don't want it too dark, it's just a little bit of an impression. So ink up as you go, pressing down, re-ink, and the last time at the bottom. There we go. So you've got my nice background there. Whilst you've got the applicator handy with some ink on it, just go around the edges. This will help it pop out of the background a little bit better. So I'm adding a little bit of the Chic Moss Colour Cloud, and then I'll go to a little bit of Plum Cobbler in places. Great combination, it mixes really, really well. Add a little bit of that as well. And then that's ready to go on top of your card. So you can just make sure that all your images match really easily. That's nice and straight, so you've stamped it really well. And to start off the base card, I've actually started to colour in some of the leaves. You don't need to do some of these because those are going to be coloured in onto your panel here. And I've already started that on this particular one. So that's going to go onto here, match up your leaves, match up your circles, and then you can stick that dead flat to your base card. So let's do that now. So I'll take my PVA glue. You'll also need to find something to fill your bubbles with. Well, we have a die that die cuts the bubbles, and they will die cut out of a paper. Something like 210 gram would be an ideal weight. And let's match this one up as best we can. The nice thing about using the glue is that you've got a little bit of time to fiddle with it to make sure it's absolutely spot on. I think that's pretty good. Give it a little bit of press down. So now that's ready to be decorated. So you can either use buttons, you can use gems, you can just colour them in, or you can use glitter glue. You can use anything you like inside those circles. But we do have a die, which die cuts the 3 largest circles on here. These little teeny weeny ones you can fill with gems, something like the Cosmic Shimmer Pearlescent PVA pots here. I've got Purple Violet and Decadent Wine. Both go really nicely with our plum cobbler colour cloud. But what I have done already is I've die cut some circles from shade of purple paper, and I've put them onto a mat, and I'm going to shape my circles by going around the edge of the circle, pressing down into the middle to create those cup shapes. Smaller circle, smaller embossing head. And push it into the mat to create your dome shape. And to stick those on, I like to use a little bit of silicone glue. I've also got a pokey tool and a pair of tweezers handy. So I'm just going to show you how I stick those on by taking up a little teeny bit of the glue. I use this because it stays raised, because you need to fill in the little hollow that's created when you're shaped your bits of paper. These can also, by the way, be stuck completely flat to the circles. They'll fit either way, which is really good. So you don't want to shape them, you can stick them completely flat. So then I'm going to pick up one of my shapes and I'm going to pop them on top using a pair of tweezers, so much easier. And another one, like so. Cover the whole thing using these paper, and then when you've done that, you can go onto the Decadent Wine PVA glue, and you want to make sure that it's going to run out successfully on a little bit of scrap card, and then you can fill in little teeny weeny circles with the PVA. And I like the mixture of these two colours, the Decadent Wine and the Purple Violet, look really, really good. And when it's all finished, you will have a card that looks like this. And I have stamped and embossed on a die cut circle. I've edged it with the colour cloud. I've got some foam pads on the back, stuck that over there, and you'll see a little weeny ant on here, and he is from the Bubble Tops set. So you'll see some spiders and beetles and a little teeny weeny ant, which is quite nice, bit quirky. And I put a little bit of glossy accents on the top of the ant to finish off. I hope you've enjoyed that video and look forward to seeing you again soon. Thank you very much for watching.